Hey guys, and welcome back to Feelin' Feline, a podcast where we talk about what it's like being in our 20s in the 20s. For this week's episode, I have a very special guest, one of my best friends, Dhruvi, and I'm so excited to have her here and just really get started on this episode. However, I just want to apologize in advance because my audio is a little weird. I don't know why. I think my mic was being a little buggy, so I do apologize for that in advance, but I hope you still enjoy the episode. So, hey guys, welcome back to Feelin' Feline. I have a super special guest today, and I'm so excited to have her here. My best friend, Dhruvi.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into her wonderful podcast every week. I know she's doing a good job. I hope you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, it's been a good outlet for me just because life's been kind of stressful, honestly.
Yeah. I think it's like your online journal.
Yeah,
Something
it
that you
is.
can share with people. I definitely think it's like a good place to just kind of like let it all. It's basically your like current version of Tumblr, but like
No, it's true.
present day.
I didn't even realize that I needed something to like let out, and this week was really rough with surgery and everything. And really, even when I recorded the past episode, it was amazing. Like I had a huge load off my shoulders.
Oh yeah, I can totally understand because I think like it's just like someone to talk to, like someone other than your routine, like your audience. I feel like you connect with them on like a different level versus I guess like your friends, your family, or like
Yeah,
your significant other.
it's true. That's how it is. But how about you? How is life?
Oh my gosh. Super exciting. Well, super exciting because there's been a lot of things going on. Well, first things first, I'm finally a citizen. Yeah.
Yay!
Yes. Well, that was really exciting yet such a nerve-wracking process because
Yeah,
I I remember so like when we came here and my when my parents got their citizenship, I could have naturalized under them, but I literally fell short from naturalizing under them by 4 months. Like the year I turned 18, my mom got her citizenship later, like in April that year. So I like missed that note. So I was like, well, this is great.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, so basically like so if you're immigrant, like if you have immigrant parents, and if your parents naturalize, if you're under the age of 18, you derive their citizenship if they naturalize before your 18th birthday. So that's exactly what I guess my parents were trying to do with both me and my sister. But then my mom, she naturalized literally 4 months after my birthday because my birthday is in January and she got her naturalization in April. So then here I was without a citizenship. And then like I moved around a lot. Like I went to college. I like, moved out to Maryland. So that there's like so many like things and I couldn't apply for one because like my permanent address kept changing. Like they want like a permanent address that's like you've lived at for like couple months in a row, and like you're
Right.
not going to move, and then only you should apply or whatever. So I was just waiting to move back home and start, and I had started the process last year. But because of COVID, it all got shut down. And like a year and a half later, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, but it was an interesting experience. I thought I was like not going to be nervous because I went to school here, so like your American history, or like at
Right.
least like the general stuff. Like you don't know the details of everything, but the
I
general.
mean, I don't
stuff.
know the details. Yikes.
Yeah, exactly. But like the general stuff, But I was like so nervous, but it went well. So I'm like so happy. It doesn't really feel different because life just goes on the same way. But it's kind of like just a nice thing to have now that I don't have to worry about like 10 million other things when I'm traveling.
Right. I was gonna say because it doesn't change your everyday life. Why did it take so long? Like, is that a normal thing that it takes that long for even your parents to apply? Like, is there a certain time limit that one has to live here? before they apply to become a citizen. Because when I moved here, I think my parents, it's the same thing that you were saying. I was obviously below 18, so I was able to just naturally become a citizen under, when my parents became citizens. But how come? Is it supposed to be that long, or was it just different things going on in life?
Well, so basically, I moved here at the age of 12.
Mhm.
And then you have to live here for 5 full years um, without any like trips in between. So you have to live here for 5 straight years. And like, let's say under the 5 years, you have like a month trip or whatever. So it
Right.
extends to 5 years and 1 month that you have to stay here. So 5 physical years in United States, and then you can apply for one. So basically, because I was 12 and my birthday is is earlier in the year, so what happened is like by the time, it's like I was 17 and a half technically when my mom had, or my parents had applied.
Right.
But basically what happened was like, so once you apply, it doesn't count that date. It counts your interview date that you get. So my mom's interview date came after my 18th birthday. And
Oh, I see.
that's where like the kind of like, the gap happened of like me not naturalizing under them. Like I'm not deriving their citizenship. So that's why this happened. And then afterwards, college came in between, and I like never just went, like I just never went through it. And then like I moved out. So I just like, after that, life happened to me. So
Yeah.
I never got to start the process until recently when I moved back home.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad finally it's kind of done because I feel like it's kind of stressful sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I didn't like, I feel like just, with recent times, with recent times, I've always realized that like it's so important. Just like I wanted to even like, as little as like vote in like an election. It just
Yeah,
feels
right.
good to have a say, as like, someone like, being directly affected by like whatever political shifts that happen in our
Yeah.
government. I just like wanted to be part of that change. Even if, the change is as little as one vote, it's still like, I wanted to have that right because, we are directly working in this economy, are directly being impacted by the taxes,
True.
the taxation, the job market, everything. We, by working in this kind of economy, you directly like are impacted with all of these things. So I realized that it's so important, especially this past election in November. I realized like how much I like just cared for, like a candidate that really was looking out for me in the office, kind of a thing.
No, so true. I feel like that's kind of the biggest thing with being a citizen is that probably the most important reason why I would like be stressed about getting my citizenship. So good for you. I'm very happy for you and your family because I know it's been happening for a while. So
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, everything comes with time.
true. Just like our
Yeah.
friendship.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yes.
A little background, I have to say, because obviously not many people listening may know my friendship with Dhruvi, but we have known each other ever since she moved here, actually, and we had a very interesting friendship.
So true.
I used to be a bitch, I'm just gonna say, because we used to be so bad. Like, I've evolved so much, and I'm happy she's dealt with me the whole time, but I can't even understand how you still wanted to be my friend after everything that happened, but I'm very thankful.
Well, I am very thankful to you for evolving into like an amazing human being that you have.
Oh,
I
you're so
feel
sweet. I'm gonna cry.
because I think the biggest thing is I feel like when you lose yourself, it's always just amazing to come back to the person you are. And I feel like
Yeah.
with years, you've done that. I think like I started knowing you before, like you changed a little bit for whatever, like, you changed a little bit for, like in a wrong direction, but I knew you before then. So I think that really helped just like, kind of keep it all in.
Yeah.
Cause like, I always just like had you in my life. It's just like we went through like a period of like, I guess, a little bit of distance.
Mhm.
And then like we went through that distance, we're able to get through it, and then like obviously start something like much more, I would say, intimate,
Yeah.
and much more like open. And like
Yeah.
over the years, I've gotten to learn so much from you as a person, and just a lot of things, like as to just my perspective has changed on some of the things for sure.
Yeah, I definitely can agree. I've learned so much from you as well. We've had a very good friendship in college, at least, and building up on that. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm not saying it was supposed to happen, like the bad stuff, but
Mhm.
I'm kind of thinking that the bad stuff kind of did bring us back together because, it's nice to know that you still loved me, that I was going through things, and I'll realize eventually that, these things weren't good for me. And you stuck it out. So honestly, like, I'm so thankful for our friendship. And it's just a great time for us to have this episode after my last one when I was just talking about like patient love and unconditional love, especially from your side.
No, I feel like we both have those. I feel like, we both had our moments because for the longest time, even when you were going through when you were going through a portion of your life where, you weren't feeling the best version of yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just there. But I feel like at that point in time, I hadn't evolved into someone who was okay to like have like a very I would say like a very open conversation, a very
Right.
vulnerable conversation with you. I wasn't ready to have that. So there's a part there was a part of me that was like wanting to talk to you, but I was just never I didn't evolve into that person just yet. And then obviously you were going through another aspect of your life, now looking back at it in hindsight, it was negative for you, of
Yeah.
course, but in the moment, it was fine, it was positive for you. And like you were kind of dealing with that, and I was kind of dealing with the fact that I couldn't confront you about my feelings. So I feel like
Right.
we both had different things that we were being patient with each other about. You were being patient with the fact that, like she's not talking to me, but we still kind of here and there like connect with each other. And then I
Hmm.
was just like, oh, you know what, like she's going through a different phase in life, I'll just give her space, kind of a thing. So I feel like we both had like different versions of patient love, and like we honestly could not have kept our friendship together if I feel like we both didn't try.
Yeah, I feel like if one of us gave up, whoever it would have definitely not lasted as long, but I'm happy we didn't.
I know, same. I'm so happy we didn't, because there's just so much that we have to be thankful about in our friendship. In like, just I don't know. I find like I find like myself in you,
Me
and
too.
that's what like I think connects us the most, like at like the very at the very core level. I feel like that's what it is that just keeps us connected, or from my end at least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me too. And how did the pandemic change you? This past year, it's going to be almost a year since everything started. And how is, your relationship with yourself and your family? How did that change kind of during the whole pandemic?
Well, firstly, I think I have grown so much, like I've grown so much patience in all of my relationship through this pandemic. I feel like I have become more patient, more I want to say like more intimate in some of my relationships. And it's funny that we're talking about it, because I was just telling my sister earlier that my sister and I, so my sister moved back from college last year in March as
Mhm.
well. And then I also stopped going to work and I started working from home in March. So I feel like my relationship with my sister, we've always been we've always been very close ever since we both started high school. After we went through the whole middle school years, my God, we don't talk about that. But but after that, I feel like we both have gotten so much closer and everything. But obviously, there was always distance. Oh, because she lived at school. I was either home or I was either in Maryland. So we were still so busy in our routines and stuff. But with
Mhm.
quarantine, it kind of like aligned our routines in such a manner that we have grown so much more closer, and just so much more like, how do I say, open with each other about everything, whether it be career advancements, whether it be whether it be friendships, relationships, or just like just having a bad day, take out a frustration, talk to each other, like kind of a thing. We've just gone so close. Like we've come to a point where like I can just we can read each other's expression to a degree. Like
Right.
if I just like see her, you know I can tell that, like, she's not having such a bad day, or if she sees me, she'll realize that it's been a long day for me, kind of a thing. And just like, in those manners, I feel like we've grown so much closer. And then even with my parents, I
Mhm.
like I said earlier in our conversation that I had moved out. So I haven't like kind of lived at home since I moved out for college, like when I was 18. So last year I moved back home with my parents, and like honestly, it felt so good to just kind of spend time. And also, like, sometimes I feel like you forget that, um, just because you're growing, um, doesn't mean your parents aren't either. Like they're not
Yeah.
staying in one position. They're also growing. They're also changing. So their personalities are also ever changing as well. So I think once I moved, I realized that, like, like they've gotten so much more mellow, and like we're able to talk about like topics, things that, like, just random world, like, events and stuff, and just like kind of
Right.
build a bond, a friendship, in terms of that. So I have formed like a very, very different type of friendship with my parents. I mean, I was always close to them, but now, like, my parents are like my best friends now. I can really talk to them about anything, and we can just openly have a discussion. Yeah, like from time to time, of course, you lose it with each other, but at the same time, you always come back to like just your friendship.
Yeah, and I think I had an episode about my parents recently, and I can definitely vouch. I feel like in our 20s, it's super important to have a good relationship with our parents, especially because everything that's kind of coming in our 20s, whether it's a house or an apartment or moving out or,
Hmm.
just everything adult, like car payments and, children and getting married and
Yeah.
bigger life decisions than how it is in college. I feel like it's important to rely on your parents as somebody who, they've already experienced it and they can give their 5 cents on the situation. And, you don't have to
Hmm.
listen to them, but it's nice to know that when things come ahead, like for me, if I forget about something that's kind of more adulty, I tend to literally just call my parents and they're like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" Blah blah blah. I start freaking out. They're like, "Listen, it's not that serious. Like we've been through this before. You're gonna be okay." And it's nice having that. So that's why I feel like in our 20s, it's so important to have a good relationship with them. And like I don't know about you, but when I turned 20, I think that really was kind of the same like pivotal moment where I realized that like my parents are also getting older. So I feel like I
Hmm.
valued our conversations more, interactions, and that's why when I moved out, I was super homesick because I just wanted to spend every single second with them.
Yeah. No, I understand. Even when I was living, when I had moved out, I was also so homesick every 2 weeks, which is why I did the whole drive, like the dreaded drive, but I just did it just to be home with
Yeah.
my family.
And you
And
lived in Maryland, right? For
yeah,
people
yeah.
who are, not
Oh,
familiar.
yeah. For people who are not familiar, I lived in Maryland, and like I lived more closer to DC. So
Mhm.
that's like a good 4-hour drive, from Jersey, or from like central Jersey where we live. Um I would say, like a good 4 hour drive. So it's just crazy. It takes a whole, like it takes a lot of time to get here and to go back. And then I also realized that, like, I had lost like touch with my friends in the sense that, like,
Mm-hmm.
I would text them, I would FaceTime them, of course, but I couldn't meet them as often. So it was always just kind of like, and then obviously I had wanted to come home, spend like the 2020, like just like, catching like a bunch of my friends, but
Right.
obviously world had another plan. Oh,
A stressful plan.
I know, but I feel like, in a way, I also think that I have learned a lot of just self love, a lot of self care, a lot of just spirituality in like
Mm.
the process. I think I always, ever since we graduated college, I started delving into it like very minimally, I want to say. But I feel like through this quarantine, I have realized, like, just the power of like self love, self care, and just like manifesting yourself, like your whatever, you want from life, from your life.
See, I like that because we can definitely, oh, I definitely want to talk about manifestation and spirituality a little bit, but maybe we can focus on self care and self love first. What have you been doing in terms of, self love and self care? For me, at least, it's been, I feel like we've talked about this plenty of times, skincare,
Mhm.
and you
Mhm.
were the first person I'm always talking about skincare. So now's
Well,
your chance to tell me everything and anything.
so basically, I think, it's really funny we're recording this episode like a day before Valentine's Day, because I know like a lot of people connect Valentine's Day to like, celebrating love with a significant other or
Mhm.
friends or something. But I feel like we always forget that like we should be celebrating your love with your own self first, because I feel like if you don't have that, there's nothing you can put out to your other relationships. So I really enjoy just, nurturing my own self. And like, for example, in terms of skincare, like you said, I have always struggled with like, bad skin, whether it be dry skin or just like acne. Like I've suffered with a lot of that. So once I grew older, I started indulging in like skincare, taking care of my skin, like helping my skin without like, derm treatments or something
Mhm.
harsh like that. So I wanted to like very gently fix or like maintain my skin. And I started watching like all these bunch of YouTube gurus. I still love watching them. You know, like for your audience, like, Hiram, James Welsh, Mixed Makeup, Leah Yu. There's so many of them out there, but I really highly recommend for people who are really looking into skincare. Those are like some amazing YouTubers with so much good content that, they deserve like a listen. Like if you are into skincare, you know, that's one of them. But yeah, and like, I realized as I was like, embarking on my skincare journey, I guess you can say, that skincare is all about cleaning yourself from inside out. Obviously, you can put products on your face, but
Mhm.
if your body is not clean from the inside, then like, it still doesn't help you sometimes in terms of that. So like I've started eating healthier. I have started eating like more greens, more veggie, like more greens, like more like, veggies, more fruits in your diet. I also started drinking like hot water through the day. Not sure like, if that does anything, but it helps like detox your body at the very least.
I remember every morning at college because we used to be roommates. Every morning I would wake up at literally 9 in the morning. That's when Dhruvi gets up. She would microwave a glass of hot water. I think you put lemon in it. Did you?
No, I put turmeric in it.
Oh, turmeric, yes. But
Yeah.
still, even that, I couldn't even. Every time I would hear the microwave, I'd be like, I don't know how she drinks hot water at this hour.
I still do that. I still do it. I've been doing it for so many years now. I've lost count. But
Yeah.
and then now like I started incorporating hot water through the day, most of the day.
Wait,
So
so
like
what does hot water, do you know
oh,
exactly what hot water does, or is it just your preference of what type of water?
well, no. So hot water is really, really good for your digestion. It's
Wow.
really good for your metabolism. So it really helps in the sense of that. I mean, I could be wrong. For anyone listening, I could be totally wrong about this, but I looked it up and it said that, drinking hot water really aids in metabolism because when you eat food, your stomach needs energy. It generates heat by breaking down your food. But
Right.
when you after eating food, when people just drink ice cold water, it actually requires more energy out of your stomach to generate enough energy to break down that food. So hot water, on the contrary, aids into it doesn't cool down the energy in your stomach. It keeps it at a certain level and doesn't you know doesn't expend more energy versus you drinking cold water is what
It's
I
funny
know.
that you say that. So, do you not drink ice water with your meal because you know damn well how much I like my ice water?
I know. Yeah, I don't actually. Even I don't prefer ice water generally speaking. I
Interesting.
prefer room temperature water because ice water is just also really bad for your teeth.
What? I didn't know that was
Yeah,
a thing.
yeah. Ice water is really bad for your teeth, but I love chewing on ice. So do you. I know.
Yes. Yes, it's so
Uh,
true.
yeah, I love chewing on ice. So sometimes I'll just sit there and chew on ice, obviously,
Yeah.
because yeah, life. Uh, but but yeah, it's actually ice cold water. From what I've researched online, I I think it's bad for your teeth. But like I said earlier, I could be totally wrong on this, so don't come for my life.
No, I mean, if you looked it up, it must be, at least
Well,
a point of interest for some people, and they've probably done their research too.
yeah, or sometimes there's also with all of with all of this information online, there's also there are some kind of myths at times, and
Yeah,
scientifically it could be totally different,
true.
reason. So that's also a case. I feel there's a lot of myths versus reality out there. So, you know, we could be having different ideas or at least accepting different ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then also just incorporating less sodium in my diet, love a good bowl of ramen out here. but
Preach.
but try to I try to control my sodium in other ways. And
Yeah.
then obviously just just eating clean. I feel eating clean is just a lifestyle thing,
Hmm.
but sometimes I'll just let myself go and it's okay. It's okay too. Just also being kind to myself that if today is a day I'm not having such a great day, I want I want a donut. So I'm gonna be I'm gonna be kind to myself and just go get a donut. So just I've learned that sometimes self-care doesn't mean that you have to deprive yourself off of something
Hmm.
you deserve or you want for the day, but just be kind to yourself. Make positive lifestyle changes, but at the same time, some days, not all days are the same. So some days just be kind to yourself. It's okay if you didn't do a workout today and you just was a couch potato and just be a bum. It's totally fine
And
too.
went to a sushi buffet.
Yes, yes. Facts. Facts. Sushi is a must in life.
First of all, speaking of sushi, how rude were Dylan and Sal calling us out for being late? You remember that day and how hectic it was.
Yes, exactly. Y'all rude. Y'all
Yeah.
rude AF.
Tell them, Dhruvi, next time so they know.
Honestly, if Feline and I will be late to everything,
Oh God, I haven't even talked about this, but it could be a whole
including
episode.
including our own weddings. We will be late.
Stop.
I'm convinced. It's fine. It's just listen, I try. I try to be on time, but it just so happens that I'm late.
Yeah, I'm not confident in saying that I'm going to be on time, even to my own wedding. So
Yeah, me
at least
too.
we're accepting it now.
self-awareness is the key. Like, at least I'm self-aware.
But yeah, I like that you mentioned self-care is from the inside out. That is actually a very good quote that I feel like I'm going to use at one point, but I like that. And it's true. You should definitely, try to focus on what's inside first because, you could keep having a morning and night routine, which I know we're going to talk about soon, but
Mhm.
if you are not eating well, that's not going to fight the amount of grease that's going to come out of your skin or just overall, your physical health and mental health and things.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And it's just important, to, especially in times like this, I've also learned the importance of keeping your body active
Hmm.
in any way you like. Some people prefer Zumba, some people prefer yoga, some people prefer just like a regular day at the gym, or like, some people prefer like just outdoor activities. I feel like
Drinking.
it's the true nature of Feline McQuilla.
Old
Oh,
Feline. I
I
have not
know.
had a blackout in, I want to say the entire year of the pandemic. No, not the entire year, but like maybe 7, 8 months.
Actually, I just have completely cut it down. If
Yeah,
I'm being honest, I just feel like I have just found a new profound love in my H2O.
facts. Now, I was always a water drinker. Don't get me
Me
wrong. You know
too.
that. I always had
Yeah, yeah,
water with
you are.
everything. But
Definitely.
definitely my drinking has decreased significantly. And I definitely think that that has helped with my skincare and
Hmm.
just every time I try to think about even drinking more than one wine of glass, I hate myself. I mean, not wine of glass of wine.
Yeah, that's okay.
I hate myself.
Yeah, I feel like it's just about like balance. And I feel like
True.
after going through like college, crazy college days,
Uh-huh.
um, you've learned to sort of just balance it out. Like, if you're having one glass, you're just like stopping yourself there. You're like, okay, like let's learn some balance. And that's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of balance, and it's not really related, but your skin, I think that's important. I don't really know too much about it, but
Yeah.
is there a difference between, your morning routine with your skincare, or your night routine? Like, what is it? Walk me through it. And what are kind of the important aspects of your routine that you think is important?
Okay, so I have learned, well, contrary to what I believed. So I don't know, many of your listeners might not know, but I'm Indian. So I am blessed with lots of melanin, you know, blessed with lots of it. So growing up, I always believed that because of like, the melanin that we have, also this is because everyone around you says this. So I always believed that because of like the amount of melanin we have, I don't need sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
Sunscreens for the weak, you know.
Yep.
So you always grow up believing that. But after I started looking into skincare, reading into skincare, I realized that sunscreen is a must no matter your skin type, no matter if you burn or not. Sunscreen is so important for so many reasons. And the reason being is that like so your most basic routine day and night should be just wash your face with like whatever cleanser you prefer,
Mm-hmm.
that's like your skin likes. Put a nice moisturizer on, and then put sunscreen on in the daytime, and then of course nighttime you don't need sunscreen, of course. So that's like your most basic routine that anyone should have. And then in between you can add little steps. So I'm just going to go through my routine and then
Mm-hmm.
like explain like the little things, and then like we can go from there. For my morning routine, usually I use my good old CeraVe cleanser. I love CeraVe. It's really, really nice for people with like, kind of sensitive skin. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, my skin goes through a lot of changes through the year. I have like oily skin in the summer. Because of course the sweat and everything, but at the same time just like oilier skin in the summer. And then during winter months, I like my eczema sometimes flares up, so I go through like patches of dry skin, to patches of like my normal oily skin, sort of a
Perks
thing.
of living in New Jersey.
Literally, literally. Thank you. Thank you. also just also just like eczema is like something that's like in my family, so like both my
Hmm.
sister and I both suffer from eczema. So for me, I usually use in the morning, I use a very gentle hydrating cleanser from CeraVe, which is like literally like a creamy lotiony cleanser. And then after that, I just use a toner. I just use a hyaluronic acid toner. For most of you who don't know this ingredient, basically it's like kind of hydrating ingredient, which, helps you keep the water in your skin, keeps it like, nice and, like, plump, if I say so.
Right.
Cause, like after you shower, you get out of the shower or whatever, you lose water immediately. So in order to just like keep the water in your skin and not have it dry out, I put a toner that has hyaluronic acid, so it does more of like pH balancing of my skin, along with hydrating my skin. So
Hmm.
like you mentioned earlier, balancing your pH, whenever you wash your face with any kind of cleanser, your skin goes through like a pH change. For some cleansers, you go through a drastic pH changes. For others, it's like not really like you don't go through a drastic pH change, but it's good to keep your skin's pH at like the normal. So your skin is
Yeah.
slightly acidic. I don't know the exact pH level, but
I didn't even know that.
yeah, your skin is slightly acidic. So I think it's it's somewhere below 7, but
Hmm.
between like 5.5 and 7. I'm not 100% sure of this one, but it's slightly acidic, but not at like so. Whenever you wash your face or something like that, depending on the ingredients in your face wash, it either
Hmm.
goes super low or like a higher. So you have to bring it back to like that balanced pH. So toner also helps you do that. So I usually use a toner, and then I use a vitamin C serum. So using a toner also has another benefit. It also like preps your skin for better absorption of like next set of ingredients that you put on. So yeah, like it helps with the
Okay.
absorption. So I use like a vitamin C serum, and for some people vitamin C serum might be like, too strong. So some people can just use something more mellow. There are vitamin C serum or vitamin C derivative serums as well that are like, kind of more gentler on your skin. But vitamin C basically helps you with um, any kind of like, dark spots on your skin, to brighten those dark spots up, or just generally keep your skin, um, generally kept your skin's complexion nice and bright. And it also helps. So vitamin C also helps fight off like sunlight in a way too. It like basically adds like in combination with the sunscreen, it acts like a booster to
Oh,
a
I didn't know that.
sunscreen. Yeah, it acts like a booster to a sunscreen to just like, fight off the sunlight. And then after like a vitamin C serum, I'll just put like a daily moisturizer of any kind. Because I go through, dry and oily skin, uh,
Hmm.
I I use like a I use like a lotion that like helps me keep my entire skin like intact,
Hmm.
um and like not have dry patchy areas. So I'll use like something slightly heavier than like a really runny lotion,
Right.
but not as heavy, because then my oilier parts like my T-zone will get super oily. So I'll just use like a thin watery lotion. Like water-based lotions are really good for you, so I'll use like any water-based lotions.
Yeah, actually, the elf ones are water-based, and there's also this specific company, it's called Pacifica, and I picked it mainly because it's vegan, but it also has water-based ingredients too. So I
Yes.
remember you told me one time, and I looked out especially, for the ingredients to make sure it's water-based.
The water based is really really good for your skin. For a lot of people out there, we don't realize that like some of the moisturizers who like have like dimethicone in it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Those moisturizers tend to be kind of like, I want to say, silicone in feel. So they spread really easily, but sometimes like they'll if your skin can't handle it, like it'll give you like patchy drier areas. So I get that sometimes. So I like anything that has water as like the first ingredient. It's it works really well for my skin at the very least. Yeah, so and then you just put your good old sunscreen. Anything works, you know. For me, I use a lot of like I really really love Korean like beauty brand, like skincare brands, I should say.
Hmm.
They have honestly the best technology when it comes to skincare. Literally, Korean people, geniuses at skincare. I have accepted, you know, we all have to catch up to them. They have amazing skincare. So all my products are usually like, um, like I just buy them off of like, websites like Yes Style or like Wish Trend or something like that because it's just, I get all of them from Korea. They're like a bit expensive, I guess, because of the export and stuff like that. But
Right.
it's worth it. It lasts you a long time, and it's just worth it if your skin can handle it well.
I was gonna say because I know some of the ingredients have like snail in them, and I remember you were like, "Don't be freaked out by that. It's actually, a lot of natural ingredients instead of, the chemicals that we kind of use here in America."
Yeah, so that's like the biggest difference. Not just Korea, I feel like even Japan has really, really good products.
Hmm.
Um, or just generally, I feel like a lot of Eastern medicine, I should say, a lot of Eastern medicine is based off of like natural ingredients. Like
Right.
um, you'll see stuff like black rice or like snail mucin or like I want to say black rice, snail mucin. I want to say even just like roots. They use a lot of roots like
Hmm.
mugwort and all of those. Ginseng is like another big one. So I feel like they use a lot of, or like even they even use like green tea,
Yeah.
um, and
And
like
milk, I think, right?
yeah, some are milk based. There's also like white green tea leaves that they do, which is also very, very cool. So they use a lot of like natural ingredients and derive whatever they want. For example, right, like in America, or like in some of the American skincare products,
Hmm.
you'll see that like salicylic acid is like a big acne treatment sort of a thing. But in American products, most of them are like, obviously man made salicylic acid, which is also really, really good. Like, I use the ordinary salicylic acid serum. The most amazing thing I've ever used because you'll put it on a pimple overnight and like it just like it's really nice and dried the next morning kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's really, really nice. But then like if you look at like some of the Eastern medicine products or the Asian products, I should say, you'll see like something like willow bark in there. So willow bark is like a type of tree bark, but they derive it produces naturally salicylic acid.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So that's also another thing is something derived like that is more gentler on your skin versus something that's like, more
Man made.
focused. Yeah, focused. Because, obviously when you're making a product man made, you want it to be concentrated in that particular thing that you're promising, which is
Yeah.
also completely fine. But some skin types can withstand that and some can't. So
Wow.
sometimes gentler products are better. Obviously, they'll take more time to show results. And then, products that are more focused will take less time to show results. But ultimately, they do the same thing. They're just more skin type friendlier, depending on like whatever skin type you have.
I think a lot of it also is like, you were saying Asian technology is a little bit more like
Hmm.
advanced, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is that they have more access to the natural ingredient. I feel like it's hard to get, some ingredients here in America compared to, what they put in the products, right?
Oh
Or
yeah,
no?
yeah, for sure. No, definitely. Like some of the products are just like, some of the products just grow in
Mhm.
like in Korea and they use it. They
Yeah.
purpose it towards their product, like towards, their skincare products. Whereas in America, the main ingredient is like really, really hard to find, which is why because like, stuff like mugwort or ginseng is something that they've grown there in for centuries. So
Yeah.
to find that to have farmers who farm those kind of ingredients is just easier. versus like, in United States, it's harder to find, which is why I said, I feel like United States also has like some really, really amazing products. But, like, and I use a combination of them. Like I use a combination of Asian products and American products, depending on like, what I'm trying to do.
That's interesting. So I don't know. I feel like I need to try more because, you're teaching me a whole lot of stuff right now. I've looked at Yes Style. I just get weird about the ingredients only because I don't know how my skin is going to react to it. But I know that they have smaller size portions that you can try out, right?
Yeah, and also they do this really cute little thing where depending on the products you select in your cart, they'll send you like free samples. They're like like little packet samples. So you can always just try that. And then nowadays, I have seen a lot of Asian products, not all of them, of course, because of the exposure is still very minimal, but a lot of them also are, sold through Sephora. So Sephora is really amazing in like, their little samples. I'm not sure what their post-COVID policies are, of course, anymore. But, Sephora is really good about their samples. So that's always a good way to start.
Nice. Okay, so I have questions for you.
Yes.
One, do you even use sunscreen when you're not leaving the house? Like, still put on SPF products?
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you why. So there's two types of rays. I'll start with that. UVA and UVB. So UVB rays are like your normal, like, sun rays, like outside, like, sunlight outside. And UVB is also blocked by like your glass windows, your glass doors, all of that. But UVA is something that penetrates through glass. So even if like, you think that you're not going outside, you're just going to sit inside and like, just be indoors. But obviously you're surrounded by windows. If you're anything like me, I love sitting by a window. I love natural light. So, they can penetrate through the glass, even on cloudy days, by the way. UVA rays are like UVA rays penetrate through clouds and penetrate through your window glass and everything. And they can still impact your skin in that way and cause premature skin aging. So that's why even if I'm staying indoors, I always put, sunscreen on. Like if I am staying indoors, I'll put like a little bit of sunscreen on. And then if I'm going out, of course, I'll put like a whole bunch on just to be more protected. But even indoors, it's good to have like, a dime size of sunscreen and like just nice, evenly put it on your face, like your neck area and everything, just so you can still protect yourself from UVA rays.
Yeah, definitely. I want to use it more often. I don't have any products right now that are sunblock or have SPF on them. I just started my skincare routine, and again, it's all from you. So
yeah, I actually use a skincare. I use this one. So one of the YouTubers I watch, Leah Yu, she has. She recently, in the past, I want to say 2 years, she has launched her own line of products, and one of the products from her line is the sunscreen, and her sunscreen is amazing because it's a chemical sunscreen. So there's a chemical sunscreen and then there's a mineral sunscreen. So for people of color, mineral sunscreen leave like a little bit of a white cast. So you have to always search for a sunscreen that doesn't make you look like a ghost, literally.
Okay.
So chemical sunscreen is more friendlier in the sense that it never leaves a white cast.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I always use like chemical sunscreen. So her line is her brand is called Crave with a K, so Krave.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so Crave, she has a sunscreen on there called the Beach Shield, and literally that sunscreen is always out of stock on her website because it's that popular.
Wow.
Yeah. So that one I really, really like because it's really like it goes like a lotion on your skin almost. And like, it's really nice. It doesn't really make you feel oily. And like, it just like nicely stays on your skin. And on top of like just being a sunscreen, it also has a whole bunch of like antioxidants like beetroot, allantonin, then vitamin C, like, all of those work together just like as antioxidants and just strengthen like the protection levels, I guess you can say. So
Wow, that's awesome.
It's like really nice.
Well, I'm definitely gonna try it. So there it is. I'm gonna try it and then see from there. I will whenever it gets back in stock.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I haven't checked her website in a really long time because the last time it came back up on her website, I literally just like wholesale order that so I can have one as a backup whenever I'm running out of one. But yeah, I haven't checked it, but you can check it. Like, from time to time, it always comes on. Usually around the holiday season, it sometimes gets sold out because, people are trying to gift each other stuff. So
Yeah.
it works that way.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yes.
Well, here's my next question. You didn't mention anything about face oil, and do you have any reason why you don't use it, or do you prefer it or recommend it? Because I have oil mist and I have face oil. It's already a little bit oily, and I don't necessarily like need to put it on every day and night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So no, I didn't mention face oil because it's not part of my regular skincare routine, but I do like using a face oil from time to time. So one of my favorite face oils, just like a literal oil to use, is called rosehip seed oil. So like a rosehip seed oil is like really high in vitamin A. And it's kind of like one of the, how do I say it? It's one of the drier oils. What I mean by that is it's one of the oils where, which you don't feel heavy on your skin once you put it on, basically.
Oh, so you're saying like it like dries out because like dries out quickly in general
Yeah.
because that's what I'm saying. My oil like
Mhm.
stays on my skin and sometimes like 2 hours later I'm already like trying to sleep and it's all up in my face and I hate it. So that's why I don't like putting it on sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. So it's one of the drier. So basically, if you feel like really oily or something like that, it's really, really important to look at the oil. How do I say it? The oil properties. Oils, you want to have lighter oils in your skincare so you don't feel like irritated when you're trying to go to bed. So oils that are high in linoleic acid content are more lightweight versus an oleic acid content. So, oils like rosehip seed oil. Rosehip seed oil is really high in linoleic acid versus oleic acid. So that's why it's a little bit lighter on your skin. It's more friendlier for your skin, at least I believe so, versus I want to say like avocado oil or I want to say like macadamia oil. That's like really, really heavier on your skin. And it just like, it's meant for those kind of oils are better for people who have really, really dry skin. Or like some people have normal skin. Some people like that, so that's fine. But for me, I really prefer linoleic acid content. So I use rosehip seed oil for two reasons. Firstly, it's one of the drier oils, like I said earlier in the conversation. And secondly, it has a higher quantity of like vitamin A. Vitamin A is also known as it means retinol. So, retinol is like literally the most famous anti-aging product ingredient in skincare society and otherwise. Once you pass like the age of 25 or maybe even 30, a lot of people incorporate retinol in like their daily routine just for its anti-aging skin benefits. So
interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah. So rosehip seed oil naturally has vitamin A, or also known as retinol, in it. So it really helps like slowly for your skin to develop the, how do I say it, the stamina to take retinol. So retinol is a very powerful ingredient as well. Some people might not do really well with retinol right away. They might need time to train their skin to handle the retinol. So in that case, rosehip seed oil is really, really like nice, like kind of like, how do I say it, like a nice little start before you really
like a smooth transition.
Yeah, before you move into something so strong. Right. And also it's just really good for like acne. So that's like one of my favorite oils that I use. Then I also have this one serum, and it's like a really innovative serum that has like a water-based part and an oil part up top. So you like kind of shake the serum, and then
What?
you spray it on your face.
I need that now. You need to send it to me after this call.
I will. And it's super cheap. It's also like a Korean brand called Sioris, but I really love that because first of all, they make it depending on seasons. So every season they have a different like. So like, you know, for the fall/summer months, they have a serum that's based on water plum, like water-based portion.
Like extract?
Yeah, extract
Okay.
like water portion. And then their oil portion has jojoba oil, macadamia oil. So like I said earlier in the conversation, macadamia oil is like really high in oleic acid content, which makes it a little bit, you know, heavier on your skin. But when you mix it, like, or when you mix it with the water part, on my skin, it goes so nice and light. I can like sleep through the night with it. And I can't even tell you, you wake up with like the best, like plump feeling skin in the morning.
I need that.
It feels really good and it's like not heavy on your skin at all. So I really like that. That's like one of the most innovative thing I've seen. And it's really, really nice. You just have to, before application, you just have to, you know, shake it and then spritz it on your face.
That's awesome. I need that. So please send it to me.
I will be sending it to you.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been definitely amazing. And I just want to touch on one last topic before the end of the episode. I wanted to touch on kind of what you were saying about spirituality and manifestation, because that is something that I'm still kind of slowly discovering and understanding. But what has your journey been so far?
Well, you know, back in the day when people will tell you to stay positive or like be positive, like so good things will happen to you, and you're like, no, like that never works for me. You know, like you always had that little thing, but it's actually like it actually is true. A lot of people don't realize that like you manifest the positive things in your life. If you, and it's obviously not a switch. And I understand that. It's not like, you know, you turn on the switch and you're positive. Like, you know, some days, even if you want to be positive, you're going to sit there and just be negative.
100%.
And be unhappy with whatever you're feeling for the day. So of course, not every day is the same. However, I feel like the universe gives you what you put out. And hear me out when I say this. I know this sounds really ridiculous, but on a very, very atomic and like a physical level, you know, we learn about like, you know, atoms and all of that. Like, so, you know, positive energy attracts positive energy back from the universe. So there's like a law of basically, there's a law called law of vibration.
Yeah.
And it works with human beings. I know this probably makes like no sense, but it's basically like when you vibrate on a higher frequency, the universe gives you a higher frequency back.
Interesting.
And it sounds really extraterrestrial, I know. But it's more than just like, you know, being positive or more than that. It's more like when you put out positive energy into the world returns that positive energy with positive things in your life. And that's truly called like you are manifesting your own, like you're manifesting your own life kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because
I like that though, because, you know, I like to think these things because I don't like to think too much on the ground, if that makes sense. I know that there's always something more than kind of what we see in front of us and how we live life. More to it. And I always think, you know, why waste your time being negative? And even though it might not be true, right? Like, you know, nobody can really explain or prove it if it's true or not, but isn't it better anyways just to continue to stay positive rather than, you know, drowning yourself with all these negative thoughts? Like, I think that's what I've been learning from just quarantine and everything. And I like that, you know, I like that you say, you know, you will basically talk about, or, you know, good things will come your way if you just manifest it and continue to think that it will. I've definitely stuck with that as well. And I think it's something important. And although it might not be, who knows, it might not be true. Exactly. But I think it's cool too.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, not all days are the same. And like being
Hmm.
positive, it's not about staying positive always. Of course, there's going to be hard days. Of course, there are going to be days when you feel so down, so distraught over whatever is going on. And th- those days, you can't help it whatsoever. It's okay. You
Yeah.
have to tell yourself that it's okay for me to feel this way. But you know what? Like, I feel like being positive, just like in your earlier podcast, that you have to try to be a better person each and every single day of your life.
Yes.
I like being positive is the same exact way. You have to try every single day to be kind to people around you, kind to yourself, kind to this universe, in any shape or form. And I also think that you have to 100% every single day try to manifest positive things.
Hmm.
You have to tell yourself that you're doing the best you can. You can do better, but whatever you are in this moment, you're enough. You're doing good. You're going in the right direction. You just have to keep telling yourself that, and like try every single day to make yourself feel appreciated, accomplished. Then only the universe also helps you accomplish your own personal goals.
Love that. You should definitely be a motivational speaker.
Oh my gosh. No, you're gassing me up. But
No, but it's true. I mean, again, like we were talking about how we learned from each other in our friendship. I feel
mhm,
like you were a more spiritual person than I was, and I've definitely taken that aspect of your life and kind of incorporated it more into mine of just seeing things more in a spiritual, outside of what's going on matter that's kind of extraterrestrial. I don't know, but I like to think sometimes like that because it reminds me that there's something more than whatever's going on today, tomorrow, or yesterday, or
mhm,
10 years from now. There's going to be some type of meaning behind it. And I like to continue to
yeah.
think that because it helps me kind of motivate myself to get things done and be more productive and not waste time.
Yeah, and also just on like the topic of waste time, and I also like to think that sometimes it's just a beautiful thing to stop and stay in right in that moment. I feel like this
Yeah.
quarantine has brought so much appreciation, for me, like for me at least, to just kind of stop and just enjoy this moment, enjoy right now. Like right now I'm doing this podcast with you, and I
Mhm.
this is such an amazing experience. I'm literally not thinking about anything, and it's just
Yeah.
so therapeutic to just enjoy the right now. Because
Yes.
I feel like you and I are very similar in the sense that I always need to know what's next. I always need to
Hmm.
know like what's coming. I need to have everything under control, or at least I need to know what I'm expecting, or just like I get impatient about it. But then I am trying my best to stay in the moment, to enjoy and not to rush, because the next thing you'll reach that future point that you wanted to right now, and then once you get there, you'll make up another future point that you want to reach to without even enjoying that particular moment.
Yeah. I think that's definitely something important to do in our 20s because, life is throwing a lot of stuff at us really fast
It's
and
too
out of
short,
control.
man.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we forget to be in the moment and actually just enjoy even like let's say you had a busy week and the only free time you have is sitting down and watching a movie. Like even some people aren't really in the moment even at that part because they're worried about the 5 meetings they have the next Monday.
Exactly.
So I like to make myself more aware. You're right, it is a constant effort. You have to constantly put in the effort to be more in the moment about these things.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy. It's so hard. Like sometimes I'll just wake up in the morning anxious for work. So
Hmm.
that particular day doesn't, like I'm just anxious all day. It doesn't
Yeah.
go so well. But I tell myself that you're doing great. You got this much done. You have only a little bit to go. You got this. or I'll just tell myself that it's okay. If you couldn't accomplish this for today, you can do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just to just kindness to yourself. I always believe in that. It's the biggest thing that can heal your heart. Kindness to your own self.
I love this. Thank you so much for getting on my episode. And I think that's a perfect time to end it because it's a great thing to remember, a last takeaway. It's beautiful. You really are really good at that.
Thank you for having me. Although this is my
Thanks so
first time, I
much.
was so nervous, but I just treated this like a conversation, like you said, and
Exactly.
hopefully it turns out well.
It'll be great.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. I hope your listeners really enjoy our little heart to heart and just, give you lots of love on this.
And you'll definitely come back soon, promise.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you had a good time hearing us catch up with each other and just talking about general life, positivity, skincare, citizenship, and don't worry, she'll definitely be coming back on this episode. If you guys have any questions or topics you'd like me to talk about, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Again, my Instagram and TikTok are at Feelin' Feline Podcast, and my Twitter is at Feelin' Feline. So thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!